What is going on? Today we are going to talk over a picture set that I created together with my good friend Ava. Ava is a trained ballet dancer all throughout her life, and it holds a special place in her heart. And so we wanted to kind of showcase that in a retrospective-esque video. And so what you're seeing here is the behind the scenes that went into that, but also the selects that came out of it. And I think the cool thing about this is that the inspo was to really dive into the nostalgic aspect of just being black and white, because I think black and white holds such a timeless vibe. And this first picture that you're looking at is her warming up at the bar. And one of the cool things that I learned on this shoot is Ava was talking about how it's so common for dancers to come in their warm-up fits and then casually get into what in this shoot is a tutu, but casually get into like their performance fit. I just thought it was so cool that they have so much style and so much intention outside of just the movement, and it's a whole story. And so we really wanted to captivate that. Then moving on to this next one is another picture of her stretching. She was getting into more dynamic warm-ups here. And for that, I think I always talk about loving to capture motion, and especially in something that is so movement heavy as dance. And here we are capturing just a little bit of movement just from the stretching, but it's very subtle. And for example, in this image, we went to 1/40 shutter because with that, any type of faster movement will end up having a little bit more motion blur, similar to if you were to film a video in 24 frames per second, because you'll be at 1/48 shutter speed or 1/50, which shows that motion. Kind of like right now on this video, you can see my hand waving back and forth, and there's like some motion blur when you move it faster, right? And that's the idea of what you want to capture in these images when the purpose is to capture slower shutter moments. And moving on, I really love the use of flash, and I think here it really isolated her as a subject, and it was right before she was transitioning into putting on her performance fit or her ballet point shoes, as you can see here. And I just wanted to take that moment to like just tell that holistic story of warm up all the way through a performance, right? And this is a portion of that story, and it signifies to you as a viewer that she is taking a moment to herself before she fully gets into that zone. And I just really liked this image with how the flash isolated her, and then there was a mirror in this studio that just really gave that cool reflection in the back there. This next image is a detail shot, and I think that is something that can go unnoticed, is taking the little moments of details, because here you just see her point shoes, but you can see that they're actually worn, and these are her real point shoes, and you can see that with that wear and tear, and just showing the real tenacity of what it's like to be a dancer. I had her go about getting ready, and I just captured her doing her thing. And here she is with the point shoes on, getting ready to just tie them up. And I think this was a cool image to me because it really gives you a moment to sit with, oh, I'm really right there and about to be ready. And for a lot of this shoot, I used this is an 85mm prime. I challenged myself to use mostly primes on this shoot. And so I was on the 24mm G Master 1.4, one of my favorite lenses that really Sony has ever created, and it took me so long to pick it up, and I'm very grateful to have found it. And this one is a 85mm 1.8. I just really love the compression that 85 gives. And yeah, moving on here, we had some inspo from Black Swan where Natalie Portman plays this ballerina and is similar to this, and eventually is called the Black Swan, right? And so we wanted to pay homage to that with this type of things. And it's good to take creative inspiration from other places and make it your own. And moving on here, honestly, this is probably my personal favorite shot of the shoot. It's one of those in-between moments that Ava was being so natural as herself as a ballet dancer, just readjusting her shoe, and something so simple but so gorgeous and beautiful in the details of what it's actually like to be a dancer. Then moving on, we had her run through some different movements, and I asked her, what is some of your favorite things? And so she had this bar, and I noticed all of this was lit with just one spotlight. Very simple lighting, and you don't have to make things complicated. With that single spotlight, I was able to isolate her as a subject and then shoot through her with the 85mm into the mirror where she's lit up here, as you see. And I just thought that was such an intimate moment, because you're kind of peering past her into a reflection of herself, and she's in her own little world, transforming into her self as a ballet. And it's just such an intimate moment because you get to peer into her mind a little bit, right, while she's getting ready. And I thought that was very beautiful. And then here, I just had her run through several different poses, and we just really enjoyed the outcome of these ones, and just wanted to show the elongation of fluidness of movement. And these are things that can go missed, but they're important for storytelling aspect of it. Here we are with some more slow shutter shots. And the key to slow shutter, and I know I've touched on it on other videos, but depending on how fast the subject is moving, you have to experiment with how slow of a shutter you can go. My general starting point with slow shutter is 1/8. And as you can see here, we didn't do 1/8 because we needed a little bit more because the movement was so quick, right? That's the beauty in experimenting and being creative with cameras. And I just really wanted to showcase just movement and capture that in a timeless manner. And I'm really happy with how this image came out. And this one is just a very specific pose that we really both enjoyed, and so we wanted to capture it. And with something like this, you just have the talent continue to move through different movements, and you capture them, because to get the most natural outcome, you want them to actually do what they're used to doing, right? This image, I felt like could be a poster, and it was one of those at the very end of the shoot. I was like, what if we took the tutu off and kept just the outfit, and you just tried to balance on your toes? She was like, yeah, let's go for it. And I just think that this is such a beautiful image, and basically she's in her own world here, and you can see the slight reflection of the point shoes on the ground there, and then everything else is just like engulfed in her own world. And just really fell in love with this image. Last but not least, I love putting together composite shots. And here, as you see, is a composite shot of her, and we wanted to make it a little bit different than the rest of the shoot, so it was more so of a cool down type vibe. And I had her pose here, as you can see in the middle one, and I'll pull up Photoshop and show you. So as we get into Photoshop, you'll see there's a main image, and it's just her in the middle. And what you're gonna wanna do with these composite shots is you want to be on a tripod, because it makes sure that the camera stays still and your horizon, your plane, and everything is very consistent. You could technically do without a tripod, but it would make your life so much more difficult in post. And we want to make our lives easier in post so we can be creative. So here, when I saw this image, it was the last thing we did on the shoot, and I really wanted to put a bunch of Avas around her and just get ready. And we thought this was a neat opportunity to show like a little cool down, have her being finished with her session, just taking a moment of quiet before going into regular life again. And here I saw this white wall, but I knew with all the black around it, I was going to easily be able to mask that out. And so I did that first. And as you can see now, we have all black. And the cool thing about this one is I had her pose in different areas in the frame where I thought I wanted in the final image. But since one note is, since this is a black background, you could technically just move her around, move the subject around anywhere in the frame, right? That's not how it's always going to be. So what a good practice is to shoot as if it were for the final product. But I had her lay down here because I just wanted to have a few different expressions. Then we had her maybe sit here in the corner. And another note as we get into it is the lighting is main on the main subject, and it doesn't change throughout because you want it to be natural to the naked eye, untrained eye, or even trained eye. It won't look the same if you relight it for every situation and they're perfectly lit. It'll just look something a little off, you know? So you want to keep that consistency and continuity. And the cool thing here is also you see her here in the corner, bottom left, looking at herself laying down. And since you kind of plan that out, you can have the subject look in certain ways or do certain things for continuity purposes. Just had her cooling down here, tightening her point shoe, then just doing a cool different pose. And you'll notice this one is lit pretty well, right? This was actually a middle pose, but I liked where it sat here. So I had masked her out and then I moved it and overlapped this other pose a little bit because I wanted it to be kind of like a true composite. And then this next one, I loved like the little details of just showing her feet and the tutu, because as you can see diagonally, I had her laying down and you don't see the bottom of half of her body. And so I thought it was a nice little touch to do that there. And then for this last one, I had her laying down again, crossing her arms, just like so done and so restful in a way. And I could have added more of her throughout here, but I felt like that could have gotten a little busy. So I made the choice creatively to stop here. And we're both very stoked with how this turned out. And for any of those who were curious about how I do composites, this is an overview of the approach that I take when I'm thinking about it and how you do it in Photoshop. So you mask out these subjects and you place them within the frame to create that composite. You have one master photo and then take the others and mask them into their correct positions. And that's a wrap on the day. And I hope you really enjoyed watching this as much as I did. So Holistic Story was just the beginning to end of what a real dance practice session would look like and get into a performance fit ready to perform for the stage. And that is that journey that we just went on today together. And you could have been doing anything and you chose to spend a little bit of time with me. I appreciate you. I hope you have a wonderful day and get out there and do something that you enjoy. Thank you.